Good morning, everyone. My name is Kambula Lawrence. I work with Midwestern Region Center for Democracy and Human Rights. We are based in Masindi. Yeah, thank you.
Anwar Moses Moria, one of the civic mentors under this program.
What is happening here?
Some people don't know which one they should use. Others have already started proposing.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nyamais Joan. I work for Shine's Children's Foundation and we are based in Masindi. You're most welcome.
Good morning, members. I'm Asime Christine. I work with Fowode-Usaid. I think in my area people are warming up for the next election.
Okay, next.
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Tumsimi Delbert. I work for RDP Uganda. And what is happening in my community is that young people have started positioning themselves to fill up the political spaces come 2026.
Okay.
Good morning, members. I'm Ontario Jocelyn. I work with Kamalika College, just like other communities, preparing for the next elections.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yosam Wichwa from New Vision. A lot is happening in the district, early politicking, mudslinging, among others.
Good morning, members. I'm Wanera Abel. I work with the Electoral Commission. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Doreen Chasima.
Good morning. My name is Moses Mulindwa. I work with the Uganda National Unity Forum. Thank you.
Good morning. Juliet Fellow is my name. I work with the Uganda National Unity Forum. Thank you.
Good morning, members. I'm Abdullah Milkonaisa, Chairperson Council for Disability Masindi School.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. William Mam is my name. Representative of PWD's Masindi District.
Good morning. Trusting that Buliza is my name. You're welcome.
What is happening in district in Kwenda, I want that feel. And by the way, this does not necessarily mean election. For example, Katonga has crossed. That shapes the political decisions of the area. It also shapes the shapes where OWC goes. EW, what is that? That is the government model. I'm interested in what is happening. Yes.
Batangirire nywena mwaraganye kuma Julius ikora kidogwa sub-county kidogwa parish ikora nka civic ikora nka tokowa Obina na Fowode. Ebikwapenyinga mukitweka kyange muno PDF yegenda mumaiso baitu na hati rugali akatandikire tarehe yakavumwaka. Yes.
Next.
Maimka Godfrey, this is Masindi. Women councils are waiting for their elections. They are overweighted.
Meanwhile, that is the gentleman who taught me all the economics that has made me survive. Mumutero Munga. There are not many teachers who can teach people and they become greater. Not Mungero Mutero Munga.
Thank you so much. Protocol observed. My name is Kugonza Salama, civic mentor. What is happening in my area? PDM funds have been disbursed to different individuals, and those who have missed on that are also struggling to see that they benefit. I don't know how. And also there is UR revenue sharing to different groups. That is in the Bakani.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Annette Nachemba. I work with Radio 7 Uganda. Thank you.
I don't think even that your neighbors really heard. But on a man.
Good morning, all of you. My name is Atwaire Jane.
Okay.
Good morning, members. I'm Juliet Namsari. I work with Red Cross Uganda.
Those of you have issues, first aid, Red Cross is there.
Morning, members. My name is Nyamaisi Margaret, Councillor for PWD's Masini Municipality. What is happening in my area? People are busy working in markets. But they are working.
Okay.
Good morning, members. By the names of Margaret Barongi, Station Manager, Bunyoro Broadcasting Services. What is happening in our media house? Those people who intend to come, they have started showing up and coming nearer to media.
Okay. Don't.
Let's go set up this.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm called Laura Wasemera. I work for Fowode-Usaid Uganda.
Okay.
Yes, good morning. My name is Richard Ngo. Now I don't know where I work. Okay, I'm a businessman, but a political man too. Thank you.
What is happening in business?
For us, we are relaxed. We are waiting for the next elections. You know, businessmen. Chairman is here.
Good. Okay.
We are only giving those who are asking. You know, businessmen.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kapimpini Fred Sande, Civic Action Mentor. You're most welcome.
Murairo Muta. Amaharagange Abdallah Seruku Makiki Omusita Alukwe. Kandi the MP EKK, that is the Military Kingdom. Kandi ninyo chairman wanyu wabasubuzi of Masindi district. I love you all of you.
Give it to the person who's going to determine your tax. Hey.
My name is Fred Kisembo. I work for Masindi National Government in the Cows Office as a senior assistant. I'm happy to be here.
First, give the mic to the elder. Okay. Thank you, Carl, for coming.
Abantu bange nabetuli begalikirire muno abwe mundu byekkola mu yange kandi era abantu bange begalikirire muno abwa issue ey'amabaati
Okay. Webale mu agabunyoro gatahiki bakweraliikira kagabunyoro gakayigenda twala haya. You know, these are some of the, just hold on, please, the essence of this is for us to think broadly that the election is an act, but that it relates to whatever is happening. I think you can to reflecting on about reforms. You link that the reform will determine what type of MP you want or you get, what type of road you have, whether the mabati are discussed or not. Not so. Please proceed.
Thank you very much. My name is Peace Patricia Anyu, and I am the note taker for today, the rapporteur. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Everest Lumjani. I am 2 months old in Masindi as the returning officer for Electoral Commission. I'm really glad to be here. And what's happening in the Commission now is that we have had the cries and the reports from the civil society about our role, which we have not been taking seriously, which is vote education. And currently we are involved in vote education. I think in the 2 months I've been here, I've already been able to hold two talk shows. I am also targeting schools, and tomorrow I have a full day at Kabalega College doing the same thing. Next month, beginning, I'm be at Chema, Kabarie, but also have meet civil society and other people. Much as I got to know about this engagement this morning, I was able to put up something which I think I'll be given an opportunity to share about us as a commission. What have we done, or what are we doing in terms of reforms which we are talking about? Hope you'll be giving me time to share.
There will be that time.
Okay, please. Thank you so much, and I appreciate for this opportunity.
Thank you. Welcome him to Masindi.
Ono mwana bunyoro hano abakuba mezak mwana waitu hano betu bakuba ni murafsa ali mwijukuru waitu ibara mudere James Aten chairperson L3 Wijanga sub county mwebali kuija
Alexander. Okay, I've skipped a few. Make it okay.
Banange Frederick Tabula Kiki, chairperson of this Masindi. Our roadmap is out, X7 FDC, and to Kutegeka electoral structures, whereby by November we must have a new government as a party in the whole country. By to one national business conference as a party in November, by to district, our gates are open. We are recruiting members. Abakonda Koesimba, Abantu who want to Bikora, our values, our norms and everything. Gambia Bantu.
Okay, give it to I think I missed it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. By the names of Dr. Fowode-Usaid Ngo, what is happening in Fowode-Usaid, the community are making leaders to be accountable to an extent that there's already a process of building, constructing a latrine at the market. That is consumer market.
Thank you. And finally, that's book.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Isaac, former contender Alliance for National Transformation and Mayor Association, Masini Municipality.
Okay, thank you. I have skipped. I think, for purposes, I'm a human rights defender. I must be in the know of everyone around. I missed someone. Two of them. I didn't hear you. Yes.
Morning, everybody. My name is Joseph Kaguma. I'm a journalist attached to Vision Group.
Okay. And finally, and enjoy the way kuba mu room na yina. Kuma leto enjoy the stand ki garuka kunu mu sports. Okay. Enjoy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Businge Joa Baboli, the Member of Parliament representing Masindi Municipality. And of course, there are many things happening, both local and national. What is causing now anxiety is the MK movement. In the district, recruitment of new local government workers is going on in the Service Commission. I also hear civil servants have not got salary for a long time. Who is representing CAR is here. You are now paid.
Please don't agitate for accountability using my space.
I want to be sure if your former teacher is eating well.
Thank you very much. Joel, finally.
Strengthening citizens' engagement in elections. That is what it is. And this program started way back in 2019 with support from Usaid, International NGO Forum, and Forward, with support from Usaid, our donors. They are supported us in implementing this program. It's an 8 years program, and we are happy to have been joined by the Usaid team today and the NGO Forum. We almost welcome Moses Mulindwa and the team. Thanks for coming, being part of us. The NGO Forum. We have worked tirelessly to see to it that we have discussions around governance, engaging citizens at the grassroots, which is for the cause and for our country. This program mainly is to contribute towards engaging a proactive and engaged citizenry. Here we look at citizens being at the center. Yeah, that's what we are looking for. And that's why we are having these engagements right from the grassroots, at the districts, and at national level. Why we are here purposely is to get your input, to discuss on which key reforms do we feel that are practical, that can respond to the needs of the citizens of Uganda, and can ever be implemented. When we started in 2019, we were looking towards increasing citizens' participation in electoral processes, and then in the second phase, we are now increasing citizens' participation in political and constitutional reforms. We wonder why constitutional and political reforms. These are reforms that shape how elections will be. And it's a continuous process. So we can't wait for elections to start. Then that's when we start thinking of which electoral reforms should work for us. That's why we started it right away, and it's a continuous process that we should all get involved and participate effectively. We did carry out citizens' consultations in communities, just like you hear from the rest of our colleagues, the civic mentors who are here. Citizens also raised concerns, they raised issues, they also come up with reforms that they need for our country's governance and how elections should be conducted. You will be hearing from them. One of the representatives will give us a feel of what happened in the communities. And this is what we are going to share with you, so that you can review and validate whether these reforms are applicable. And at the end of it all, we shall come up with a district position paper on what key reforms do we need as Masindi district. These consultations have still started. We started with Oima on Tuesday, and here we are in Masindi. Then on the 1st June we shall be in Ngo. And in all these 3 districts, we shall have district-specific position papers. What may apply in Masindi may not be what may apply in Oima. So that's why we are coming up with different specific position papers to get these views. What are people of Oima saying? What reforms do they need? How do they view these issues? Then after which we shall now engage with our MPs who are so critical at this moment. What can our MP for always standing up in our meetings? Let us give him a hand clap. He has always been participating. I wish all other MPs would be like him. Then it would be, our district would be at another level. But I hope they will still come up. Some of them have promised that they will be joining us shortly. Yeah. At national level, we are going to engage the members of parliament. We are going to engage other government institutions like the Uganda Law Commission, Constitutional Review Commission, the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, and committees, so that we can discuss further about these reforms. To see which reforms are meaningful. Sorry. And we hope that by 2026, we shall have come up with key reforms that are going to direct our elections and governance processes in our country. Yeah. So with these few remarks, we invite our donors, our implementing partners, the Uganda National NGO Forum, come and give us opening remarks as we start these discussions. Thank you so much.
I would like greeting Runyoro. Mlele Muta. Muli Kurunzi. And then what do I respond? Oh, Muli Kurunzi. Okay. Thank you so much. Very good morning to you all. Our dear Member of Parliament, Honorable Usaid Uganda, our leaders from the district. I had the Deputy Carl, I had several chairpersons, councillors, our brother from the Electoral Commission, and the different stakeholders that are in the room. I bring you greetings from the Uganda National NGO Forum. We are happy to be here this morning in Masindi to join you in this very important meeting. I traveled with my colleague, Juliet Akelo, whom you saw introducing herself, to come and be part of this critical event, the district, Masindi District Stakeholder Consultative Meeting on Constitutional and Political Reforms. Like Maureen rightly mentioned, this activity is part of our larger project or activity, the SEED, the Strengthening Citizens' Engagement in Elections activity. SEED is an activity we've been running since 2019, and we're still running with it all the way to 2027, just the year after the elections. And it's funded by USAID through the generous support of the American people. Now, this particular activity is part of the process that we've been undertaking for a very long time. As you see in the objectives of the activity, we seek to strengthen citizens' participation in political and electoral processes. So I'm sure, going by the introduction that was made, many of you have interacted with the activities at different levels, because we have interventions at the grassroots, at the village level, where we have topoas and the choto that are led by you, the civic mentors and topoa conveners. Then we have had engagements at the district level like we're doing now. We have engagements at the regional level like we're doing now, and then at the national level. So earlier in the year, we started citizen consultations on political and constitutional reforms. I want to imagine that in some of you in your different communities, you were part of these meetings where we were gathering views, talking to the citizens, asking them the way you see the political processes in this country. How can we improve them? And there are many views and ideas that came out of this. Because, like he said, I like the analogy you brought in the morning of a tenant and the landlord. Here in this country, we need not to behave like we are tenants, but rather we need to behave like this is our country. We are landlords. We don't have a second country. We only have one country. We're born here. We have our children here. we will stay here. Those that will die and be buried here. Our predecessors will continue to exist here. So when we put in effort to ensure that things are moving well, it is for our own good, not for anybody else. So that's why the attitude of the tenant attitude is very bad. Because, like you rightly say, when someone is a tenant, they will not care whether the walls are peeling off. They will not care whether the cement down is being spoiled. Those of you that are landlords, you know. You give your house to a tenant at the start, it's very good. They stay there for 1 year, it is dilapidated. So I want to encourage you as we engage that let's take this engagement very seriously because it concerns us. The decisions that we make here and you who are in this room selected are representing the wider population of Masindi that is out there. I'm not sure of the population of the district, but just know that for every one individual in this room, you are representing on average 100 people or even more. So just know that the view that you bring up, the idea that you bring up is very important and representative of a bigger community. So, like I said, this process, we've had the ideas come up. So in this meeting, we are seeking to validate the ideas that have come out of the citizen consultations. So we want to hear your views. We are here seated to observe and listen to know what is happening, what is emerging out of the community, what needs to be done to improve, to ensure that we have more meaningful and improved political and governance processes in the country. So think through the ideas that will be presented here. We are happy that our leaders, starting with the member of parliament, because you see, after we have gathered all these ideas, we are going to come to Honorable Cindy, the August House. We're going to go to the Committee of Parliamentary and Constitutional Affairs. We are going to engage with the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. We are going to engage with the Office of the Auditor General. We are going to engage with your bosses in Kampala, the Electoral Commission, and all these other entities. But we didn't want to sit in Kampala and say these are the ideas. That's why we have chosen to take a consultative process to ensure that we reach everyone. And these kind of engagements are happening across the country. We had the citizen consultations across the country. Now we are having district level consultations across the country, asking each district to say, what are the issues as you see them? What remedies do you propose? What ideas do you think are able to improve the governance system in this country? Because you've been here, and I'm happy to see the different shades of opinion, FDC, NRM, whichever parties, business community, etc. So we are arguing you to give utmost attention and importance to this process so that the outcome of it is beneficial, because we want that at the end of the day, we want to have a district issues paper. So we want to say this will be the recommendations that are coming out of here, so that we'll say this is what the people of Masindi think or suggest should be done. Are they, and on different things, some of the issues could be typically constitutional things that are legal that require an amendment of the law. Others, especially for issues to do with elections, some may be administrative that not necessarily require a law. Certain things may be administrative. So just bring up those ideas, will be taken up. So after the district level, we will then have the regional, and I hope that some of you will again be invited after we have done going across the districts. We'll have something at the regional level where, as people of Bunyoro, will say this is our stand. This is what we want, or this is what we don't want. Okay? So I want to end by again thanking you all for turning up as the Uganda National NGO Forum. We are very happy to support processes like this to enable stakeholder engagement and dialogue. You know, our country, like our elder mentioned, you used to know, but I got the message where you say your people are worried about what the gun is doing across the country. Usually, by the time things get to a gun, it's because people are afraid to dialogue. They are afraid to talk to each other. So one says, oh, maybe I should use the gun. But that's not where we want to go. We want that we continue sitting on the round table and debate your idea against mine. If you think you are right, convince me. If I think I'm right, I should convince you. But no matter what happens, we should be able to sit in a room, come and discuss the way of convening here, and each one of us is able to go back home. And because we don't want a situation where our country goes back to the old days where we have the spill of blood, over issues we could easily agree upon. So I urge you, even in this meeting, let's debate objectively, let's respect each other. We might differ in opinion, but that's very normal for any community. We can't all agree. There are things where we'll agree, there are those where we'll disagree. But that's the good about democracy. So I thank you very much, and I wish you peaceful and fruitful deliberations. Thank you very much.
I was with this gentleman in the Parliament of the Republic of Rwanda, and I used to struggle moving the microphone from him. By then I was also the chair of the then session. But the most important thing is that
some of these reforms will be short-term or short-term focused, and these short-term may look like as if they are against the ruling government, because they're the people we think should be ahead of this, and at the same time they are the ones organizing, or they have been organizing the recent and the last election. So some of these short-term reforms surely they target the ruling government, but they will work out if they are timely discussed and they passed within the time that may be required or before the next election. Another basis, there was something identified as unfair regulation of the media and the technology by the government. The Electoral Commission, we have observed that do not effectively train, I'm using that word, their workers to deal with the by the government. This is through allocating enough funds. You know, when the moderator was talking about a leader being financially powerful. So you know, if you are funded fully, it gives you confidence and you remain independent. This will help them do timely elections and not to miss out on all elective offices. We have seen LOC ones staying in office for long. They continue to say we don't have money to do this. Women elections were put to a standstill because of this. But if they are empowered financially, they will do this with confidence, and every time an elective office is vacant, they can fill it and do it regularly. Three, some of the speakers who chipped in with the moderator had started emptying my points. One is here that our routine has already put across. LOC 3, LOC 5, parliamentary and the presidential elections should be conducted on the same day. That is what the people down there said. This is to avoid influence peddling and patronage, even in our district here locally, because it has happened. Presidential candidates, they go together with the president. Now, when they are done with theirs, the next is LOC 5. So some of these have continued to influence the electorates, maybe to change their mind against what they wanted. Muramutamberize muntu tujja kwatagana nawe mkimanya vitu vya kufua you already intimidating or nyo kiani kiteme yani you already know my seat is already reserved. But if you give me a LC5 who is not maybe operating with me, you know things will die out. So at least these other top officers right from LC3 the locals say at least they should be voted on the same day, so that all the leaders, maybe you speak what belongs to you. Then at the end, those who are in the office, they should harmonize to work together, other than before you even enter your seat, you are incoming, you have already started fighting. So that government is already gone almost. Regulation of security forces, as I already said above, in the maybe reasons or basis to why these reforms came up, that forces should be regulated in the participation of elections while using arms or guns at the polling stations. Presence of a gun creates fear, thus maybe fairness, and somebody may get scared, intimidated to practice his or her right. More so, to create a level ground, there should be regulation of nomination fees, either reduced or to some lower levels, maybe scrapped off. Because other potential leaders, because of not being financially powerful, may not be able to access, maybe to be nominated in order to serve when they may be competent and ready to work for the people. Fairness and equality of all voters are required. Here we are looking at most especially special interest groups, like persons living with disabilities need equal opportunities to access a voting place. Or if possible, the locals continue to say there should be trained ADs that can help people with disabilities to exercise their right to vote in case there is any impairment that is banned somebody from voting. Trained ADs with the confidentiality and secrecy to help those, so that the voting process is all inclusive. Because whatever comes from the voting process ends up connecting all of us, poor, every category, special interest groups, and so on. Minimum qualification for LOC3s and councillors should be a minimum of A level. Attorney Lutindo has already almost talked about this, so that at least at this level, the locals looked at it as all the citizens, that someone can be able to read, interpret, and retrieve the information from what has been put across. Somebody was on radio, and I've always liked to use this example, that in a certain district, which I have not mentioned, the agricultural officer requested for, okay, locally call it ambush, to use in the farm somewhere. Then it was at 5 million. The councillor said, no, just mere ambush, you want to spend 5 million? No, you go and you do your part. When the man or woman went and researched, what he did, he only changed the name to their agricultural, how they do it. I don't know how they call it. So when he changed the name, these people passed it and said, at least now this one, not knowing it is the same thing. It's just maybe, if I'm called Moses, I come tomorrow, I say I'm Rogers, but I'm the same person. So they passed it. So you can look at that level of, I don't know what I call it, ignorance or what. Just playing around with somebody's mind like that and achieving the other. So at least at A level, maybe we think there can be that level to interpret and make a rightful decision after understanding where you are putting your signature to. Political terms should be restored. This should help somebody to serve and live honorably. So they say someone will serve carefully, not to make mistakes, knowing that there should be life after this office. If I'm here for 2 terms, I must be careful. After the 2 terms, I should not end up behind bars. So this one will create that sense of transition and reduce panic. Who is coming next? Who will the person help us? And so on. But if it is already in the mind of the citizens and the leaders, I'm here for 10 years. If I'm done, I'm gone. Okay? Or I can still serve in another capacity to help the nation. But if that is not there, the leaders will always crave to find a way to maneuver to remain in power instead of serving the nation. So they should be restored. Then at a certain minority village also said, these political term limits need to be restored, should not only target the top office. Even they said we have MPs who have also been there for 30 years. We have women leader representatives who have also been there for 30 years. So they say, you mean to say there is not any other woman who can take up your position for those 30 years? If you have been MP of a certain county, can't you say enough is enough? So they propose that at least even for the MPs, they should have 3 terms. Because they have always been the head office, but they also too don't walk the talk. Another one, almost summarizing, the powers of the president should be checked, as I previously told you, by transfer of power to the Chief Justice or Vice President in order so when he uses command of the Army, RDCs, Electoral Commission, and so on. This will make it more fair because the Army will always pay allegiance if he's giving command to him or her. So when he loses that command, the Army will be there now to serve, and the police will be to serve, to protect, and so on. And the Electoral Commission will have the competence to run the election. Appointment of commissioners is another point from the Uganda Communication Commission and Electoral Commission should not be should be by the public service to allow independence of the institution. Because currently it is the head of the state to appoint those commissioners. But this has been done as I'm appointed at the mercy of the president. 2, they also realize that sometimes these appointments come as a consolation to some isolated people that maybe after failing in a certain political area, then you are appointed somewhere to console you to remain there. So if that is done, the basis of an independent electoral commission dies out. So they propose that this should be done by the service commission to make them more independent and credible to carry out the elections, but not being appointed by the president at his own mercy and maybe as a consolation or a gift for well done somewhere. There is need to quicken accreditation, like I said before, of legal institutions that conduct civic and voter education in the shortest time possible and give enough time for them to plan to do this. Finally, there is need to regulate, upgrade the use of technology during the election process and avail standby technicians in case of technical failure. Most of the voters realized when we had these machines in the last elections, by the time the polling assistants or those who are managing the polling stations said that the machine is down, they could realize an increase in the line of voters to vote, which means there was maybe some hidden agenda to that, and it is just left at that, unbothered about it. The machine is down and finished, and the statement is made plainly like that. Network finished. There is no like maybe stand by to rectify such things. Like already our moderator was complaining here on the microphone. So sometimes it creates maybe something happening which is not right. So if the technology is there, and there's no way we can do without the technology, it must be there. But there should be an option out which remains in line and still looks within the law and maybe not breaching what its intended purpose. I think those were the reforms of the local people, or the citizen, the man down there. But these reforms were summarized in around 5 different, giving the summary of the reform and the justification, or what issues does the reform address there and then, and the proposed reform. Like merging of many small districts, this reform will reduce the ever-growing government public expenditure. And the added advantage, if it is reduced, the resource can be allocated in another sector to do other things. Merging districts into a few big districts with the functional systems, because they are probably feeling the job, what, we don't have money from there to fill this position. But if they are few, which means these districts will be fully staffed with functional staff. Reduce the number of counties or constituencies to present in the parliament. This will reduce salary expenditure for members of parliament, which will in turn increase and improve service delivery. That one I think is self-explanatory. And decongest the parliament. That goes direct to the 2 persons representative, that is 1 female and 1 male per district. Regular conducting of LC1 elections. This will improve planning and involvement at village level. At times we have always ignored, but that is the basis of our administrative structure in Uganda. If they are left out, which means the whole system may do what? May go bad. But if they are already done, then the planning and involvement at the village level, and it makes them more active to do their work. For example, you find in a certain village, by the time they carried the last election of LC1, the chairman transferred to another village, the vice took over. Then the vice, by means they also died, the general secretary took over. The general secretary also transferred. By the time they were conducting the elections, it was now the defense who was in charge of the village. But if there are structures to do it always timely, and the timely maybe and put the conditions to replace such leaders, this cannot happen, because this may affect the village involvement and what, and effective management. Timely civic and voter education and accreditation. This will reduce malpractice, invalid votes, and the citizens' participation in election will increase. Easy to conduct timely education at least 2 years before elections. I think this time you may score a goal there before. Here the proposal is 2 years and you are within. And reduce learning on pressure that may make you not to understand what is supposed to be done. Because in the last election we saw some of these the candidates. They had to print, like in my constituency in Burundi, one of the candidates printed, that was part of civic, like I think voter education, printed trying to show people how to vote, how to tick, and how to put the thumbprint. She went an extra mile. Now I've used the she, I think you have understood. She went an extra mile to do that, but for us we believe that is an obligation of the EC. So it should be done early, so that it is not done hurriedly and without pressure, so that people may do what is right. Regulation of armed forces to engage in elections to avoid intimidation of citizens while casting their votes. All armed forces should be restricted from participating in elections. Special interest groups to put up an inclusive election, there should be access and fair treatment of special interest groups, where possible, have ADs to guide them. If this is done, and the Ugandan government prioritize the process of constitutional reforms, stakeholders are consulted and represented. Therefore, the civil society, organizations, members of parliament, political leaders should all be engaged to advocate about the constitution, uphold the rule of law, protect human rights, and reflect the aspiration of all Ugandans. If all this is done, it will strengthen democracy and ensure a sustainable future and foster prosperity for all. As I conclude, in conclusion, or in a nutshell, citizens are at the center of democracy. They are part and parcel of democracy, so they should not be left behind. Hence, engaging them in the constitutional reforms process is very important for them to reduce the supply of reforms by demanding government institutions such as Parliament, the Law Commission, the Constitutional Review Commission, and the Electoral Commission for meaningful reforms that will determine the governance and electoral process in the country. That's all what we collected. Thank you for listening. For God and my country.
Morning, Manager.
You are welcome to this engagement by the names of Margaret Barongi and Ngo Ngo, a manager of Bunyoro Broadcasting Services.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Chairman of this don't do like that. Also privileged to be here. My teacher, the same as the teacher of nursery, you're welcome, Mr. Bayan. I hope you still remember me or not. So, if Bayan taught me, then at one time I taught nursery, so who is Bayan? No, let us go like this. If Bayan taught Joab, he sing award in and the singing award he taught me, and I taught nursery. So, who is Mr. Bayan? Who is Mr. Bayan? So most of us, that name was given to him when I was still in senior 3. So he's our teacher. I hope I will not mess it up. So he taught him, he taught me. Finally, I sat in NASA in the class of 1. Not in the class of knowledge, in the class of 1. So he's our grandparent here. You are welcome. My name is Richard Kaneo Ukwai Mungu. Today they have written here, opinion leader. Very great. I love this title the most. And then I remember that I voted first in 1996. So I think I qualify enough to come now. 1996. I will give you the story of 1996. I was still 17 years. Some other electoral commission don't ask about underage. That was our time.
Thank you very much.
Good morning once again. I'm my brother Melton Aiza, the chairperson of Council for Disability in Maseno District. I'm glad to be here and you sang Fowode. To that list, you are disability inclusive.
Always.
But I still picking up.
Well, that is how we are an inclusive organization.
Yeah, exactly for that.
A pleasure and for appreciating.
Yeah, for today's session, I represent PWDs.
Thank you. And then finally,
thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I'm seeing the door of Fowode, the member of parliament for Maseno municipality, and I want to associate myself with the remarks so far made by the moderator and NGO Forum Uganda, that let us feel Uganda is our country. Let us not just be on the fence. Let us not be just on the receiving side. Democracy becomes a tool of convenience, but not a conventional principle. So let it be our heart. We speak it and walk it.
Finally, I also want to make this observation that citizens seem to be desperate for reform. And when I was being taught history and when I read history, they say positive change must originate from within. Reforms must start from what? Within. But reforms that start from outside, like citizens forcing reforms on those in charge, they end up being sometimes problematic. So our prayers will be that those in charge must head the reform movement.
Thank you very much, Joe. Please, you are at liberty
to refer to everything, and mainly when it comes to politics, we do a lot to give platform, to communicate, to send communication to the electorate, to the people who are going to elect, and so many things. Media is always persuasive and often works to change or influence opinions, political views, ideas, thoughts, and opinions. With media, media environment is dynamic and no doubt has great and serious influence on democratic governance and politics. Media provide platforms for dissemination and within networks for interaction and collaboration between the political leaders and the community of the electorates. In the last 2 decades, i.e. from 2000, media has changed and evolved rapidly. They have redefined the way elections are contested and how citizens engage in politics. Before the advent of internet, there was newspapers. We used to have radio, talk show debates. We called them political debates. Political news on television and radio stations. But because of the growth of technology and innovation, it has created new media platforms, and those include WhatsApp. We have websites, we have blogs, we have video sharing on platforms, we have TikTok, we have digital apps, and so many social media platforms. The media, particularly the new media, can relay information directly to individuals without the intervention of editorial or institutional gatekeepers. On this point, when we are in the field and there is something which is going on, before it even reaches the newsroom, other people can get it because of this new technology. You're on WhatsApp and something is in the field, it is viral countrywide at a very terrible speed. So, in the primary purpose of the media is to inform, educate, and entertain the public, provide citizens with information needed to make thoughtful decisions about leadership and policy, act as watchdogs to check government actions, set the agenda for public discussion of social and economic issues, provide a forum for political expression and accountability, engage and influence the public in political activities like voting, contacting public officials, and many more. However, it sometimes disseminates harmful information like distorted political content or material which may be trivial or unreliable. So you find maybe someone wrote a story which is not balanced and we put it on and it brings problems. Or some journalists, now I'm speaking like a voter, you find there are some journalists who are both, maybe they have their own candidates. Yeah? They have not practiced or exercised the ethical means of being partial. You find they write information, knowing they write information, but they intend to distort the information or stories, and they write stories which are not in a good manner. Like the new media era is defined by coverage of a never-ending barrage of sensational scandals, which may be real, exaggerated, or entirely fabricated, and may be harmful to democratic governance. Media provides more grounds for more voices to be heard. The media has served as a publicity machine for politicians. I think that one you can bear me witness, that when it comes to politicians and you're not media friendly, you will not be heard like people, the routinos who are media friendly, because of our power, our strength, almost the whole district know that Rutino is coming back. Yeah? That is the strength of media, and that is what we are doing.
Okay. Just to build on that, what you mentioned a lot of there's PR media for candidates. May you share with us what, in your view, should be done to improve the manner in which the media contributes to a peaceful electoral process? What should be done?
Definitely, as media, we need a carefully planned, transparent, and implemented electoral operations to sustain public trust in elections. Some of the events are never given enough publicity. We must ensure electoral operations comply with international standards to make elections more credible. Media, we have to conduct thorough voter, that is the government, the EC, must conduct thorough voter education from the grassroots early enough for the people to know what is going on. And we also ask, or we request, the government or the EC to stop interfering in media house programming. Mainly, when we want to exercise our professionalism, balancing political houses, you find we are greatly interfered. Other radio stations come, they end up being closed. Even journalists, you find journalists being imprisoned because they are doing their work. You find government want to force us to be on the other side of the ruling government.
Okay, thank you. Before I invite Richard to share, we have been joined by the district boss. Positive and negative. And in this case, I would be keen to be on areas of citizenship, participation, knowledge, and how institutions perform.
Thank you very much. As a former licensed teacher, I like standing as I'm talking. Our dear Chairman, you're welcome. Chairman, you're welcome, sir. Yes.
The chairman, NRM, stop disturbing the district chair. He will give you the office after.
I'm very, very blessed that the people seated in this room, now it is my time, the other time I just a joke introduction, that I know at least 90% of the people in this room. And one thing I've stood strong in the test of time is I've never been tempted to become a politician, but I remain a political animal. 3 days ago, people came to my mother's home asking me to stand for MPC. I told my mother, tell them to help. I can't. No. Chairman, before you came to politics, I was already a political animal. I would have become an MP in 2001. He was still around the police at that time. I'm very conscious about that. The youngest who was strong here, I was one of them, but I stood and told those of Ugonza Salama, I will not become a politician, but I will remain an important player in this arena. And that's why today I'm here, formerly as an EDRDP, formerly as a project manager at NCOT Foundation, now working with business sector. But I did election observation too, as said by our moderator. 1996, I was a political agent representing or guarding the vote of my teacher, Mr. Bridger Stephen, 1996. At 17 years, imagine. We did not even know things of age, voting age, we did not know. For us, we just loved the man, and that is it. We went in, I was at Masindi Junior, what happened, we went back home. But I remember my father picked back the balls from Kiati. The balls Bridger and him gave to the Kiati, put them playing, he picked them and brought them back home. That is how serious he was. In 2001, I still played a leading role. Now I was working university time. 2006, I still played a role. That was by Hurinet. I don't know if full, I've forgotten. Hired by my teacher, George Kabwimukia, to be an agent, still not an agent, in fact an observer at that time, as young as that 2006, after university with a lot of energy. 2011, still Hurinet and observer. 2016, fully, I was at RDP. We were in the game itself. We saw what happened. I was an leader at that time with the power and authority to sign a check, fire and hire at that given time. 2021, still I did my part with the civil society. We collected money through Mirak, did our regional observation. So my key take, my brothers, you have asked.
First of all, we have a challenge. An election in a country is organized in what we call an ending cycle. That unending cycle is what my brother from Electoral Commission maybe will present. That cycle is endless. Isn't it, my brother? We have pre-election period, we have election period, we have post-election what? Period. That's I don't need that one. Just make it. Now, observation of election that you're asking me to talk about, civic education, I'm going to just talk about, the young man talked about many things that I agree with. I agree with my brother from Energy Forum what he talked about. All the things we agree, we need reforms. These reforms are not going to come from Americans, not anyone else. They must come from within us. We must agree as a country that we need reforms. Our elections are very outdated. So we need the reforms, but we should first understand civil society proceeded here, the LOC5, the political leaders, that elections are organized. The Electoral Commission of Uganda works in a certain cycle. That cycle starts from pre, it comes to election period, it goes to post-election. Everything that we are doing, either observation, voter education, civic education, must be within that what? Election cycle. Pre-election, what happens? Budgeting, planning. We start with the evaluation of the last cycle, what happened, the good things, the bad things, we budget, we plan. Isn't it, my brother? If I'm wrong, please. Now that's pre. In fact, currently we are finishing post. We are going to pre. Isn't it, sir? Post is immediate after election for a period of 1 year. So currently we are in post-election period. We are evaluating. My expectation in this, as an observer to be, I'm coming back as an observer, Mr. Nasa, again. Because for me, the beauty part of it, I will get an NGO, look for the money, and I'm also hired by the NGO. Me, I don't lie now. Chairman, you'll be ready for that one. I'm coming, you declared the other day, I'm coming to observe what you're going to do. So I've learned a lot. So I'm going to look for either RDP, I'll look for Mirak, I'll go to NGO Forum National, or coordinate Masindi. I said the money is first. Let us get this money. And immediately I will tell the ED to hire me as a regional what? Will I be corrupt? I set my own terms, I am hired. That is it. So the election post now, Electoral Commission, I will also be giving my input. The Electoral Commission has not called us to discuss Masindi's post-election. Sir, you are 2 months here, but have not been called as a former observer. That you people, what were the beautiful, the ugly things, the nasty, What do you have?
May you use this opportunity to give an insight on what
Giving an
happened.
insight on what happened.
On that to the East before the
East, I'm going to give all those things. But you know, we are all jumping the cycle. And the problem why we are jumping the cycle, and I'm insisting, is we are doing errors. When you talk about vote education in Uganda, with Electoral Commission come 3 months to the election day. Abakwenda kuvotinga mutikinge nkofira. Inya abakwenda kulaki mutikinge ke. Misana salamu just I want 15 minutes to come back. So the election, by standard, me and you will know a panelist must use between 15 to 30 minutes. Even in
I would do, maybe allow me, unfortunately this used to be my boss, but for now I'm the boss. Allow me to, I will at an appropriate time give you 5 minutes, all of you, at the end.
Okay, let me give you the insight.
To share the critical reforms.
My insights in this election depend on the cycle. If you don't understand the country,
proceed.
I will have, at least I see it. So the cycle is abused. So when we talk about vote education, because that's my question, give your insights on vote education and civic education. So vote education should start within the cycle. When does it start? It is a cut-through thing. Civic education is when we are training the people about their obligation and rights, the citizens. Right from who are you, what do you do, and that one forms the basis of democracy in the country. Vote education is part of civic education that looks at training the voter on how you will vote, who to vote, when are we voting. Now, the voting, civic education must start right from pre-election. In our observation, that was not done. That's my point of discussion, sir. It came as voter what? Education. My colleagues from Coordinate, my colleagues from RDP, in fact, you are the head of RDP, you will bear me witness, I wish Robert was here. Even Isma from Iraq, I wish you were with him in home, I told you. We didn't do an observation of the entire electoral cycle. We did an observation of the voting day. I confess I'm a Catholic. So we just went and did that day. Mr. Bira Nasa, you are part of it. I can see the faces which are part of it. So we are supposed to observe hiring and recruitment. We are supposed to observe training, including training of NRM, training of FDC. That's what we call an election observation. But what we did is an election day observation. Because I knew the time was coming, I was called from Kampala, I came running, given a vehicle, you go and observe. And off we went. Was it not election day? Election day what? So my brother who is from Electoral Commission, I'm calling upon you to encourage us to do the observation. Because you have authority and the power to say we are going to do recruitment. RDP, prepare your observers. We are going to do training. Because what we are observing the training is that this training results into either a better election day or a violent election what? Election day. So when you go back to whatever happened on election day, all the things, I had written a 20-page notification, but I could not do it. One is voter incompetence. Voters could not vote well. So I want to rush as the way the MC has put it. Voter incompetence and civic incompetence. People did not know what to do. People could not know, because my expectation on voting day, people should know how the line will move, the entire mapping and structure, you get it, of that voting place. But in reality, people did not know what to do, how to vote, who to vote, all the things were not done. And I will be very clear, those who know me very well, I don't take prisoners of war home. Everyone must die at war front. If I win, I go back home. The government of Uganda, not the government. Chairman, you are here, the leadership. Government is a big thing. The government undermined the state and made sure by 2021, things were done like that. The civic space shrinked. We were not allowed to do anything. Anything, you are arrested. Blah, blah. Then came in this scale of Chinese, blah, blah, everything. By the time we are going to vote, the government wanted it like that. In fact, the percentage of voter turnout towards that result, sir, do you have it? Can we compare? You find the voter turnout what reduced. Because the government just wanted it to be. In fact, not the government. The party called NRM wanted it to be like that. You get it? Now, that is one. Two, monetarized voter elections. Money transacted hands. And that's why for me I have problems. That's the feel I had. Up to election day, we captured the voices. Miraka has a report because all of us decided to work under consortium managed by Miraka at that given time. All of us, I operate goes as a member, even you, Bila, you remember. Kangula Lawrence is in this room, you remember. And the money transacted hands up to the night of voting, up to voting day. So the monetarized election underpins and undermines our democracy processes. Elections is the kingmaker of a democracy. Without elections, you can't say you are democratic. It is the biggest yardstick in elections. Now, social media came in. Social media is good, technology is good, but it disorganized everything in that day. Results were being given as and when people want. Graphics designers were giving the real logo of Electoral Commission, sir. All of us here. That now chairman is on this one is on this. You know, I've told someone yesterday that if you want to see media influence, go to social media and Twitter. People can influence you from nowhere if you follow those things. Sometimes I thank my brother, Honorable Joab, he doesn't follow our things on like maybe social media. Whoever I'm with him, he just reads, keeps quiet, he tells you on the side, my brother, it is okay. He continue. But if you follow social media, you're in trouble. So social media, I was about to cause war in Uganda. Because elections were, you get it. At one time, Bobby Wine was at, no, not Bobby Wine, Chagulanyi was at 70%. NRM guys were about to kill us. So that one was also something I observed. Observation election, I've talked about it. Maintained electoral, we had the most disorganized observation, 2021. But it is the making of the government. EU did not come in, we had no money. The money we had was small money. We wanted to organize ourselves, but still the sources were not enough. And the political parties were not involved. Now, on the election day, something is very funny. I'm coming up, sir. When I went to a place called Kasenen, chairman of, Nyatonzi, do you have chairman Nyatonzi here?
By that time it was
Budong. There is the farthest sub-county when you are going to the border in Kiria. It is called what? The farthest polling station in Kasenen, but you pass Kasenen and you go towards now Kigorovia. The chairman knows, in fact, it touches the chairman. When I did that, I found only the agents of Honorable Cosmas. I asked, where are the rest? No, I'm not criticizing him, but that is my friend. The truth is, I even told him, I said a man and a half. I drove to Kijunjubu. I went to the farthest polling station. Still agents were not there. My friends here from FDC, from BP, you want who to take the agents for your team that side. You get it. If you don't have it, who will have it? You get it.
Make your last.
Then the pre-election period publication, I've talked about it, sir. I'm requesting through you to make sure that we have pre-election. It's a very important thing. A country without highly organized elections, we can't say we are democratic. In fact, our elections of 2021 were at World Bank. It is okay, you guys passed all, but for us internally, it was almost a one-sided thing. You get it? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Once again, I'm Atugonza Milton Eiza. I'm a youth representative in Masindi District Youth Council. Also, at the same time, I'm the chairperson of Council for Disability. I'll give my experience. In 2016, with Kugonza Salama, we are in Western Youth Campaign. You know, we have one representative for youth with disability, but it is a tug of war. You know, it was the sons of generals in the league, the son of Major Bright Mirama and Tumukunde. You know, if you don't have money, you cannot contest for regional MPs or youth MPs. And another thing which I have noticed is with youth, we have too much energy. Then inclusive is also a challenge. You find they just tell you maybe on such a day, you don't meet even, first of all, you don't meet those MPs, the contestants. You meet them at the last, and they have money. They say, if you vote for me, there is this amount. So sometimes youth, they just vote for money, not to vote for someone to represent them. That's why you see the entire Bunyoro, we are off. When we come to vote, we vote only people from Western Kwale because they have the money. You move from Chiriandong up to Soro, the region is big. When you come here to Bunyoro, no one can contest. Even so, my friend here cannot go for such big race. So you must have money, you must have security, influence. I can recall at the night when there was a gun shoot. When I was next to Geno Kumokuni. I just survived. So there is gun shooting in those what? Because they are people, they are the sons of Geno, and you know what it means, the son of Geno. So there is really a big challenge.
Are they any more useful as of now? We still need those elections.
We don't.
Especially for, no, I don't mean elections. Do we still need those leaders? The youth MOP, the PWD MOP?
We need them. First and foremost, now, the other time we used to vote for regional. PWD regional, but nowadays you find it is a tug of war. Even so, when you ask my colleague Mambu, you find a member of parliament, he moves the whole country. Now, for instance, we have Samuel, she's representing people with disability in parliament from Eastern region. Can move the whole country, but now is the minister of disability. But when the service delivery or the cake, it goes the other ends. And in the Eastern, and you find the Western region, we have. But if it was maybe regional kind of, we have our MP whom we know, maybe someone, there at least you can give a call. Yeah.
Okay.
They are 5 MPs.
So
what they first move out, they move nationwide.
Okay. What should be changed in the way your councils or your leaders are elected? What is your proposal?
My proposal is one. We need the reform of regional MPs back. If we know Western region, maybe we have maybe someone at least, and the Eastern they also elect theirs, Northern like that, even Central. Because at the end of the day, you may reject someone, and it goes in the nose. They pour him a lot of what? Votes, and for you, you'll be the victim. Thank you. Thank you
very much, moderator. But I would also love you, before I can answer that question, that I make a refreshment of the environment in which we operate. Okay. Because sometimes we seem to live in a vacuum and pretend not to understand what actually is happening. You see, our governance system, right from the law, like I said, there is talking democracy, but when you don't believe in it. And when we talk about the constitution, there is having the constitution, but there is what we call also constitutionalism. Practicing what is in the constitution, the spirit of the law, being allowed to work. And what is the governance culture? I was whispering to my chairman, Kikuja, and telling him, whereas some people think that parliament is, they say, the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega. Many Ugandans seem to put their hope in parliament.
But I doubt whether it should be so much. I don't know whether you understand what I mean. Because when you look at our governance culture and the law, it actually vests a lot of power in the executive, and particularly the chief executive, who is the president, who sets the environment. When you go in local government, you find that most items on the agenda in our councils are introduced by the executive committee. The district chairman is here, he was a mayor, the chairman of Kikulia is here. Most of what comes on the agenda goes through the process from the executive committee. So when you look at even in parliament, most of what comes to parliament on the order paper comes from the executive. There are a lot of intricacies or challenges of having a private member's bill. That's why even you see now in the 2 years, we have passed over 24 bills. We are actually going to 30. But out of those, we may have not even yet succeeded to pass one private member bill. We were almost passing the homosexuality bill, but it hit a snag and still has what? Challenges. So it is not the way people may really think. That's why in the beginning I said, from the little history I have read so far, that for reforms in areas of governance to work or to be effective, they must always start from within. Once there is no will within the ruling class to process reforms, and the external forces, the citizens and so on, demand for these reforms, they may be achieved, but problematically. I think you understand what we're talking about. They may be achieved with a lot of damages, because it may require the citizenry to overpower the ruling class, which cannot come just peacefully. So that's why I said the Ugandans are desperate for reforms. But these reforms are not seeing the light of the day. Why? Now, currently what is happening is that individual members of parliament had started raising requests for leave to bring private members' bills on these reforms, political, constitutional, and electoral reforms. But of course you know that Parliament, and especially its leadership, should be actually not should be, is an extension of the ruling party. So those in charge of Parliament must make sure that the interests of the executive are safeguarded. Otherwise, you can surprise the executive, which actually is the government, because it is the head of the government, may surprise the executive with the laws or bills which don't favor them. So it was advised by the leadership of Parliament that whoever has a constitutional, political, or electoral reform must channel it to the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, for that ministry to process and table to cabinet, then eventually come back to Parliament. And that's what is happening. I think that's why you have had the Minister for Justice, who I also believe is under pressure. But that's why I said, I hope by the end of May, I will have presented a bill to cabinet. So the bill even hasn't gone to cabinet. So the question whether cabinet will process that bill, whether it will uphold those proposals or not, still also remains. Because like I said, those ones in charge of government would they wish that democracy thrives? Would they wish that democracy thrives? Would they wish that we have fair laws that create an enabling environment for everybody? So I don't want to answer for anybody, but looking at our history and how we have been governed since 1986, do we think that we can unlock it and say, let's create fair laws, nationalism operate, like this man, is it Depoa? You said you were Moses. Moses talked about regulating the armed force in elections. Even now, you see, you can regulate it badly. What should you do? I think to me, the armed force should be, should play a back role in elections. Like saying it should be, almost removed. Now you see, among the other reforms that we need, even, I think they are not even in the law. That's why I say there is the constitution, but also constitutionalism. Enabling the law, the spirit of the law to work. You see, now in Uganda we have Uganda Police. They call it force. Uganda Police Force. We have Uganda Prison Service. We have the UPDF, the Uganda Post Service. But I am aware that none of these, especially the UPDF, is remaining in its lane. The UPDF is all over. The philosophy of our president is not in these civilian forces. It is in the military force. So they are picking people who are trained to be fighters, and they are in the police. They are in the prisons. There is no law in this constitution that allows that. Now, having the constitution and allowing it to work is another thing. That's why we said we may have to make a choice as Ugandans. We may have to make a choice as Ugandans.
What choice is
Either we stay at the mercy of those in charge of this country until when God reveals himself to them that justice is fair, yes, that justice is important for all, or we force the reforms to occur. There are two things that must be done in this country. One, I have already said, either we wait for the Holy Spirit to reveal himself to those in charge that justice is enabling for all of us. It is important to have fair laws. You are hearing what this gentleman is talking about. I was here laughing throughout his presentation. That the sons of the generals were in charge of the elections. So for them, they are just there to, okay. You see? That one. Or Ugandans will say, no, we must force these things to happen. Otherwise, we have proposed these reforms before. I remember during the time of Kadaga, civil society organization, Honorable Kadaga, the right honorable member of Speaker, now the Minister for East Africa. See, the civil society even produced a compact, the Citizens Compact, and presented it, Unfortunately, you have told me to update you on what Parliament is doing. In other words, I've said, there is nothing more. What is there is what I've told you. We are now waiting. But what he said, personally, I'm in agreement with you. And there is a private member's proposal. That's why we said, which cannot also see the light of the floor of the 11th Parliament. Because we have been guided that all these proposals go through the ministry. Which means they have first of all to go to cabinet, for scrutiny, for censoring, They may not, some of these reforms may not see the floor of Parliament. Like you are saying, the Electoral Commission should be independent. This has been the cry of many Ugandans who are fair-minded and who see far, who value the future of this country, that the Electoral Commission should be independent. And people are asking, how should the Electoral Commission be independent? This is something we can sit down and come up with proposals. And for me saying that the public service commission should appoint commissioners. Personally, I don't agree with that. For example, for me, I would propose, if you check in this concern, there is a way we can follow the example of the Judicial Service Commission, how it is appointed. Different sections contribute members to this commission. We have the Uganda Law Society contributing, the judiciary itself contributing. They are coming from different areas. We can have the spiritual leaders contributing, and so on. So you find it is not just one body which is responsible, but a group which is entrusted with the knowledge of democracy and good governance, the law and so on. They contribute a member. Not saying that there should be an individual team which is going to assemble all those members, because they can also be influenced. But if they are coming from different backgrounds and you simply meet at the table, I think that can give us a better electoral commission.
Okay, make your last input.
For me,
I would be keen on another proposal.
Yes, but that is so far one I can propose. But election, some people, once they win, they think there is democracy. Say, how did you win if there is no democracy? I may have won by the grace of God. Yes. Because even Daniel was protected from the lion. Not so. But not everybody might have that, privilege. Secondly, so therefore when we are talking about an election as one of the pillars of democracy, one of them, which is very important, we should emphasize the freedom and the fairness of that election. Yeah? The freedom and fairness of that election. Not having, like what you're talking about, the media was already saying here. The media is not at liberty, even during campaign. When you host some candidates, you must answer questions. How can you answer some? In fact, like in Masindi, I'm praying hard. Fortunately, Ninabarongo, the station manager of BBS, during the previous election was at Kitara. How I wish you proceed with that culture to BBS.
I've started exercising the same.
You see? Because what surprised me is that the proprietor of that radio was a member of the UPTF. But strong enough and objective. Then these followers who have come in the evening, they pretend to be more NRM.
Okay, thank you very much, Joab.
When we talk about their song about freedom of media, freedom of assembly, freedom of association, in this election, that's what I was saying, where you don't allow other candidates. For you have been campaigning for the last 37 years. Now for me, I've come this year to say I want also to be a presidential candidate. And you don't allow me to go and assemble people to ask you for votes. Then at the end of it all, you celebrate that you have won. What kind of winning is that?
Vote education, civic education, what are we doing? Are we telling the people about their roles? That's how we start from. What are you supposed to do as a citizen? Who are you as a citizen? Including by them paying a tax and obligation. Towards election, then we start the issues of who is the powers and functions of institutions of government. Powers and functions of institutions of government, what the parliament does, what we do. All these things are supposed to be brought out to a citizen. By the time we are reaching an election, we shall have been fighting indirectly the issue of monetarized election. We shall be fighting indirectly militarized election. In fact, me, I laugh at Ugandans. All of you, when you are standing for election, you are standing against one institution, the state machinery. That is it. Nothing else we are doing. State machinery. The moment you err as an ERM chairman in Masindia, try to err my father, we shall fail together. Because I'm going to support you. Public Alameda. The truth is, they will fire all of us, me and you, to Jabukwa. You either side with the state machinery, you go to the commanding officer, say, Amoti Wevale, when even you are supposed to be your son, yes, chairman, without state machinery, you will fail. So all of us are fighting one what? And that state machinery has been here for 37 what? 37 years. Even what I'm telling my brother now, let me tell you, you are going to take our budget. You said the people Masindi said they want civic education. They will call you aside and say, what are you trying to do? What are you targeting? What is your, do you want your job or you don't want your job? You will come back here and say, onajua, sijui, enyamambogo teinenda, sijui na kuwa sijui. These are the things they're talking about. Okay. So, for me, mine is that, as my brother said, it is from us, for us, and for us. Here we are. The reforms must start here with us. We don't want them from anywhere else. And these reforms, Mr. Jwabi have said the truth. I was part of the citizen. The culprit of the citizen pact is seated here with me. We were part of it. At that time, for us, we were the Akadogos. They would send us water. I was already an ED, but we were younger than them. We made the youth manifesto. Be like one Panasa, were part of it. We made me and you too. But what did they do? We sent these things to Kadaga using a DGF. We sat in a very nice meeting. What happened? All these reforms, my young brother Jadit, Lamiwash Pawon, all we took them to Kadaga first. And Kadaga was a more welcoming Speaker of Parliament. This one is the feedback you have to speak. She was more welcoming at that time. She talked our language. We thought things were what? The current Speaker, even if you are capturing, she will know. If you want to arrest me, I don't care. She will not welcome our things as, I don't know whether we can walk to her, the way she's highly militarized, that we can reach and say this is the season what? But Kadaga we reached. Joab was not yet an MP at that time. I reached at Kadaga. So most of these things need to start with us. The NGOs, let me start with NGOs. It is our time now to start citizen engagement. Electoral Commission is not going to help us. It can only give us, can I call it legal backing, a legal blessing? They don't have the money, nothing. That man has one pickup. You have the second. The one who drives it is also there, I'm seeing it. One what? Pickup. So what will you do with it? So it is our role as civil society. Faith-based institution, the business community, we have been relaxing behind. But this is a warning to business community. If the elections are not done well, the biggest loser, Mr. Nasa, is who? It is the private sector to lose. So it is our time to also start getting what? Engaged. But the civil society, my colleagues here, RDP, MIRAC, Coordinate, MICOD, all of us, our time should start now. Mr. Kangula Lawrence, you are senior to me in this. If we start early, we shall have a better election that's a little bit representative. Thank you.
And I'll start with seeing government not interfering in our programs, in our programming. We would wish government to give us or to give us the liberty to do our work professionally, because they normally disturb our programming, mainly when it comes to the political parties. When we talk about other parties, they normally come and interfere. We would need a level ground for all political parties and politicians to access media. And that also goes to the government also. Okay. When it comes to administration, media should ensure democratic electoral processes are observed. And media will need to be empowered to play their cardinal role as watchdogs and transparency. Media can be facilitated to provide a leveled ground as a campaigning platform. Yes, because most of the radio stations around are private owned. So you find you people, when time comes for advocacy or for civic education, you normally want free programs. And yet at the end of it all, we also want money. So when you're organizing as NGOs, you make a budget for media. For us, we are there. We will give you a platform. Media practitioners must be trained to professionally handle debates and discussions for public voice, regardless of party affiliations and government interference. You find we have our colleagues, or maybe
We have employed someone who is not professional because we are limited to finance. We think when we hire someone with mass, with a degree, will ask for much money. So you find us going with unprofessional teams. And when it comes to discussing such political issues, you find when they are not balanced because they are not trained. So we need to be professional when we are handling this issue. And media, as a public educator, should engage the public by organizing barazas and tilt their programming to improving and influencing democratic decisions. Professional media editors who regulate, we need to have professional media editors who regulate the flow of information by applying news principles and standards associated with the public good to have, and when we see that one has become scarce, so we need more people who are trained in our field. Media does check on government abuses by supplying citizens with information and forcing government to be transparent. But sometimes information is denied, and this hinders access to information by citizens. We find ourselves being challenged when we want information to certain offices, mainly the civil service. You want information, you go to a particular office, they will say that I'm not supposed to say a word unless I'm given a clearance from CAO. And yes, that's news. You have to run the story on that day. The bureaucracy we face hinders to do our work properly. Thank you for listening.
Okay. Yes, one, the EC should be inclusive, at least when they are going to do voter education in the village, there should be a sign language interpreter, because we have our fellow PWDs who cannot say who are deaf, they need a sign language interpreter. And another thing is they should start early. And you find with EC or even media, they are one-sided. I'm sorry to say so, but that's the fact. You know, the facts are bitter. Ujja kwesanga omuntu ayesimbirwa maybe ali wa NRM wa EC, ujja kwesanga eri one-sided. But kwetaaga if the truth to be the truth, ka democracy nkyagamba leka wefudisa abo wa nokwabo NRM abo mugende mu race arasingura nwabeki ogo.
So already I have highlighted on some of them that this commission ought to be independent.
Yes.
First, from the way it is constituted and appointed. There is no way a sitting president should be allowed to appoint commissioners of the what? Of the Electoral Commission. That's why I said we need to have sources where these people are coming from. And there is a body that eventually, for example, you can say, when they come, we have those from Uganda Law Society, we have a member nominated by the Public Service Commission, we have a member coming from the members, maybe coming from the religious group, faith leaders, those categories. And then you say the Chief Justice will write an appointment, but with no power to veto these individuals, because they have been brought by, if a member has come from the Uganda Law Society, the Chief Justice does not have power. Somebody who is signing the appointment does not have power to veto or to reject a name that has done what? Has come. Because unless it is in the interest of the public, even those who are nominated from different sections can be put for public scrutiny before eventually they are what? They are appointed. But we want members constituting the Electoral Commission coming from different background. And then, of course, there are some of these which we are talking about reinstatement of the term limits in the Constitution. Reducing the members of parliament. Yes.
Would you support?
Yes, I am one of those people who are saying we must have we should have 2 members of parliament from each district. That one, when it sees the light of the floor of parliament, because first of all, it increases quality even of legislators we take there. There will be so many people we shall choose from. Secondly, let me tell you, Parliament is a rally. Can you make a decision at a rally? You are going to close 600 people. Elected members of Parliament are 529. Plus the ex-officials, those who have come in by virtue of additional appointment by the president. So you are going to 500 politicians, 600 politicians in the House. That's why you see members, like he said, if you are not swift and if you are not influential to catch the eye of the speaker, you can leave Parliament when you have talked once or another or never in 5 years. But it also reduces expenditure. Now you can see the crisis we are in, the economic crisis we are in. Much as people don't want to accept. Where government workers who used to be paid every 28th of the month, today is the 17th of another month, they have not got salary.
It has come.
No, it has not gone to their accounts. I'm telling you, no. It has not gone to the individual accounts.
Let's listen and when what is
where we are going to pass a budget of 50 trillion Uganda shillings. Around there, that's what I say. 50 trillion Uganda shillings. And out of that money, 19 is going for debt servicing, paying interest. 25 about is going for wages. Now what is left for public service delivery? What is left? You see? So, I will be among the few members of Parliament to support that, yes, I want to believe, I want to imagine we might be few. Isn't it? But even those who don't support, they will not support out of ignorance. Because you may not support it and you don't go back. Isn't it? Yeah. You can say, we should be many, but still you might fail to go back. This time around, the old members of Parliament in that house are 115.
Joe, towards then you had begun doing what I want you to do. And for each one of you should be, I'm interested in the commitments. I have had that one commitment that you will support.
I will support
the reduction of the size of Parliament.
Yes.
So can you make 2 more commitments as the rest of the members prepare in 1 minute? From here, what is it that you are committing to do moving forward?
Some of them, which they have mentioned, already I'm in support, that we need to have 2 terms. If the people say that it should be cross-cutting up to the grassroots, but I have not seen that one in any country in the world.
But that does not stop us from being the first years.
Yeah, there is no harm with that. If the citizens want it, that nobody should hold an office for more than 2 terms. If you can't go to another, then fall out and become an advisor.
Okay.
You see? Some of us have been against the presence of the UPDF in Parliament. Because that's why now you are seeing the UPDF, which is supposed to protect the territorial boundaries, the defense of the country, they are now soaked in the politics. So when you have a politicized and partisan armed force,
some are guarding the contractors.
The country is in danger. I'm telling you.
Okay,
this piece,
thank you very much.
yeah. So like you were saying, this is an aspect of constitutionalism. For me, my statement is, let us look at ourselves, but look at the country first. Okay. Because our forefathers lived here, they passed on. Now we are at it. Our children are coming. So we don't want a situation where we go back to what they have been talking about. You see, a desperate population can be very dangerous.
Civil society members seated here, I can mention all of this, starting with Mr. Biret Wanpanasi. Going on up to Kagadi Kakumira, I know all of them. I commit to work with the regional election office, the 9 election officers, plus the civil societies here, to sit and will develop. I want NASA to listen carefully. Develop a joint program that will focus at preparing our citizens for the next election. Okay. That's my commitment. That's what I can give up.
As a representative of Bunyoro Broadcasting Services, that we shall engage ourselves in a giving fair platform to all political candidates or actors come 2026 as in this process of pre-elections. Having fair balanced stories, capturing all electoral actors.
Engaged if I call a poll, maybe if I've been called a poll by EC to see inclusive of PWD. I also forget something, a reform. As you know, with the Youth Act, at the national level, National Council for Youth, we have only one representative. Even at the district level, we have only one what? So even at the cabinet, tukafuna umuntu wenu wa minister nyakwina obulemu. Mu cabinet. So that's why you see maybe sometimes ebintu byetu bisigalira oba okuba mu hot cake kule mu executive baba bakutesa.
Men, free men, two men, one man must love, one man must love Uganda.
Thank you so much, moderator. What Moses presented is the actual issues that transpired in our communities, but also the communities had a request that during the elections, they want to see the LC3 elections merged with the parliamentary, presidential, LC5 elections. And they should also have their photos, because those photos communicate a lot to the electors.
Okay. EC, President and organizers of this session, the point allow me to address myself to the real theme, political reforms and constitution. And Mr. Moderator, on what Moses presented, I wanted to clarify the 3. One, and these are reduction of the district the districts, fairness of the special interest elections, and probably the academic qualifications. For the districts, I would request that we amend that yes, they should be reduced, but on top of reduction, this district should do, or they should remain, but again they should reduce the staff, like say the accounting officers and the like, and then they are taken to the regional headquarters. Because we have 14 constitutional sub-regions. Like the 8 districts of Bunyoro can be accountable to maybe say like Koima City like that. This now can help. We can try to develop, to transfer some powers to the sub-counties, and then we make sure that we minimize on the long distance that people who need administrative, who need to be served administratively shouldn't take a longer distances. Then on the matter of elections of the special interest, allow me to say as follows. We pray that the constitution and the elections for this group, we have currently the special interest are 5 members of parliament per special interest group. I want all of us to imagine one is representing Western region from Buisa to Soro,
Yes, by elections I am a member of parliament, but practically I'm not. When will I give accountability to that person in Sorry? Therefore, I propose that the special interest groups this region should be divided into two. Nkole and Kigezi into Southwest, Bunyoro and Toro into Midwest, for all special interest groups.
But do you think, according to you, those special interest groups leaders are divided to their interests?
I'm about to conclude. I'm coming to that. The reason, okay, let me answer. The reason why they don't, it's because of the vast area they cover, and the manner in which they elect these special interest groups, and especially for persons with disabilities. By the way, candidates for persons with disabilities are elected like the president. For one to go through as a member of parliament, by the way we read the law and the parliamentary law, there is no positional slot for a person. They say 5 members of parliament. They don't even mention whether east or west or what. So the moment I go through, I can choose to liaise with my member with 2, and we take charge of east and north, and we ignore those who voted me in the west. Because I know I'll go back and get the votes from the other side. And that's what I relevant. So to address this, we propose that having national electoral college, we move on from national electoral college to regional electoral college, and also increase on the electoral college members who vote. Currently, persons with disabilities, they only take 5 from the district. We are saying, let us make it like they use. Take also 3 from every sub-county, and that will make that member of parliament accountable. Mr. Moderator,
in one or the other, you are saying
by reducing on their areas of coverage for them to be accountable as part of the constitution. Because any person such in the public must give accountability to the people. So when we are living it the way it is in the constitution.
Make a last submission.
Mr. Moderator, since our special interest is key and we have peculiar issues, allow me to say the following also. Mr. Moderator, district councillors or district representatives, and now I'm talking on the persons with disabilities, have challenges during their elections. Why? One, the electoral college members who come to vote us are not facilitated to come and vote us. Bila, you are staying in Kasene. For what reason should you travel to come down to vote Mwam? Much as you want service from him. One, they should, I hope my brother, the electoral officer is here. When you are conducting these elections, plan to facilitate the electoral college from Nyantos, wherever, to come to one center to vote. If that one can't happen, then increase facilitation for yourself, especially in every sub-county. You put there your official, so that elections can be conducted at that level. Why should you trouble this PWD to move all along? And that's why you see we end up, now I'm speaking objective, because if that one is not done, if Mwamo has money, and the person H is coming and has no money, I'll transport the voters, and they'll end up being my what?
William, you've made your point for now.
Yes,
for now, just end it at that.
There's an issue. We are looking at pre-elections, elections. Mr. Moderator, we are looking at reforms, and if we don't address this, then we are, you see, persons with disabilities, during registration, during stakeholders meetings, during voter education, are always left out.
Why?
Why? I think at times, I can say it's oversight. At times, you see, in most cases, people don't value, let me use that word, issues of persons with disabilities. Okay. And we end up missing out those who will be very competent in the system. I therefore propose that during pre-elections, the Electoral Commission and other players should involve persons with disabilities.
Okay, thank you very much.
And lastly, you remember when they are going to have the official from the commission is here. We've always complained time and again on two aspects. When they develop the guidelines for electing, for making electoral college, they go ahead and say civil servants shouldn't be part of the electoral college. Are you disenfranchising this person? Because that is the mode of the election. Then why do you come up with a guideline that if you're a civil servant, you shouldn't be part of the electoral college? Then you're denying that person to vote a leader who should speak for him. Okay.
Osanga obuligizibwa iturundi colleges zaidi. Tuli ba physical itwenga. Nyomba ngenda electoral commission bateko aka guideline. Equality and all disabilities should be included. Kusigikira kenyuma kutwabaira kubwabu dinodiku yateka uga disabilities zone. The blind water you might atosanga tuli ba physical almost itwenga. Ate no sanga disability ende takusa kuja kwesimba abokuba usanga ali hubuno kuguruko tugamba tugende naki na disability zaidi. Ekindu kindi kiri kuhaidinga aba voters. Hati iyo bwene sente wesimbi osanga oli barabale kwa hona ngoma hupanga ndege boba kila kunanga kila kuleta aba voters. Ati ito kuleta aba voters baitu. Kuleta aba voters baitu then tubatwara mu separate hotel. Tubahaidinga yoko. No sanga hato contestinga no muntu ondi na ikala mkusai hali. Hata ina hoki, hata ina omuntu wena. Hati tubaitwenda electoral commission era byoholegyo omuntu wena balaba gahidingire voter bamudisqualifying get to that post abokuba osanga cyane abantu bandi bangano kwesimba abwekite bagamanya tinyi na sente tinyi nazo kutwara mu hotel.
Okay.
Political parties
inclusiveness. Madam Bazika.
Alo political parties. Ati ita ba PWDs tukira ku ending kumalira mu NRA habokuba NRA mweba ne koma
chairman NRA mwari discuss
NRA mweba ne koma
okay
ati otuba komali zetu za NRA kionga kusanga parties zili zitakosereki zitaonekeza interest hapida views
abwa
nikiosa ati tugira information nikiosa andira abokuba ijwe twabanje koma nanka electoral commission nanka exist colleges haloho mwembo muyeze nagamba muhe guidelines nyamugambo kuigano ntugize mpakula nkora bino afterwards nongena ha NRM bakutero stamp akamba kana tindi wa NRM nyamuhabuza political party yangamba ndi wa FDC kyokati na nyuka bulwa muligo kunda mugambo genenka. So tukwenda naito ba PWDs na political parties zini zimanya naito tuliyopi ba members ba.
Thank you so much, moderator of this engagement. My name is Annette Najemba. I'm a journalist and I work with Radio 7 Uganda. I want to add a voice to what my colleague, the one who represented media on the front seat, I appreciate she represented us ably. But just to reinforce on what she spoke, number one, our observation during the 2021 election, there was a lot of intimidation. Actually, journalists, we developed a phobia for covering the opposition. Bobby Wine came from Hoima, he went through that route, but we did not deploy any of our journalists from our newsroom to go there, because we knew what it meant. We had seen our colleagues being pepper sprayed, we had seen them being clobbered, so we had developed that phobia. The moment there is Bobby Wine, please no go. You know, when we are being trained, we are taught that no story is worth your life. So that's what was happening. So we proposed that
you are protected. Proceed.
Thank you. We proposed, like Honorable saying, the 4 sets should be out of the electoral process. However, my suggestion would be, I hope my English is right, having a police service and a police force. Can we have a police service? Because we still need them, but not a force during elections. Number 2, Pardon?
Yeah, Mr. Police is under the command of the military.
Yeah, but...
Bwana Joab, first give her time to...
Yeah, this is my proposal. We still need the police service, but not the force, for us to do our work ably. The number two, in the issues that were presented, there was something like commissioners being appointed by the president. And I want to add my voice to this. Kindly, can these commissions, especially UCC that regulates us, can it be independent? UCC, I'm sorry to say, works for the ruling government. At least currently, we understand, or we look at it as it works for the government. So when elections come, UCC cuts off internet. And of course, everybody knows today without internet, your hands are tied. And it is worse when you're working in the media. Long gone are days when we used to put our stories on the bus to be transported to wherever they are supposed to go. So we were tied when the internet was cut off. Now we are requesting that UCC works independently, maybe and the other commissions, but I'm particularly concerned with UCC. And then, finally, actually, this is the final one. It's just a comment. Politicians have been rushing to own radio stations, thinking that's the way they could win the vote. But the 2021 elections proved that owning a radio station was not all you needed to win the vote. Today I work for Radio 7, but at that time I worked for Radio Kitara, and I appreciate when the Honorable MP commented that Radio Kitara was neutral, and we promised to do that. There is a new regime of media practitioners, and we are working to do that, just like my colleague committed herself up there. And what we realized was even those who owned radio stations had to come to the neutral radio station. Yeah, and I would intimate to you that we really made money during that time. So, yeah, because we were getting the money.
There is a radio station which returned 1.5.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so going forward, we still promise to be objective because we realize that objectivity pays. Thank you.
Kwenda kusima na jemba baitu kwenda kuongeza biga mu bitito. Mr. Moderator oberege no gambira babere ni baruga ameze kuregyo behairiyo ga commitment ya kusaba abana bunyoro nabona Uganda ngo haroko butwihaye kugamba kugenda ego nkara ko tumasinarahira narora najwa kunarahira narora bandi murahira nabandi barahira hano nubwo karahira baitu mukama wo izirege akamugamba you have to do this you will go by that kiki kingeza ugamba aruko bundi utukwenda reforms zino zihindurwe ko gali mazima zihindurwe teke mu kintu kihindurwe abantu gamba ngokwenda ensi yaitu ebe democratic etali habo umuntu n'abantu babiri eka tumanye ngo obunyizire mu ntebe nguherezayo habwaba bandesere muki mu ntebe buturamanya ngo ekyatulesere mu ntebe kiri habwaba tujya kwikiriza entebe tugivuge habwaba bila mbere nyina submissions nyingi baitu najemba kusana banze kusoma mukapura kange baitu challenge remu okwekulembezi buno okutugeza rundi tukwa twenda okwekulembezi bona ati all levels leka tumanye ngo bukwija ni burugaho ni buija ni burugaho mutugenda kanyewe omusirikale wa hansi tuteka mu amani omubasi bensi omukwetaba mu byokomo nibagamba tugadira biki habwaki ogenda kura omunyorogo nagamba ngo kyalero aliyo kura bamuregesera mujye murole nibaje ni maroni sanka pimpini kyaro kya kibali mu kwa bigano and so forth nego muraniko ngama niko nitikinga the other day
ogenda kujja nga mwejja mugaruka alimo batahino abajaka mukibole mukumye tujja tukikora baitu ekikuleta ensoni electoral commission hakiro kyokkomu nosanga ogwanga noika kuzo ogwanga alikala baliyigomba alikala kabu manyire coverage ya umuruka gwange kuna mumanyire kakuza bogenda gamwango timumanyire atawo police kweru okuleta intimidation okora kingo timumanyire hati aho nhaba sibensi bagamba no mutraba inyo mutugamba kutukole kintu tuteke mamani tugadira okay twikale ntura abantu bakujja mu position mu ntebe ne bateka koroti okay so nyonkusaba turaba twekayo ntugamba commitment omubikale bitukora twikirize twireze obuhereza w'abantu radio ezimugamba media tulala tugamba ego tujakora baitu haizira okupakaniza omuntu ali mu ntebe gozi n'abantu benyini chairman wa MN05 n'abantu kasaba kajanga abanyongo bera ali Christmas ngujja sekoza mejokora yokwegera ogwo ajaga mati utandika kora kinu okutakusomora ali kibiki mukikara kyogamba wewe muleka ije tukole tuti tukole ebintu nke abo kwa Uganda yetiremu nuko nabasibensa bali hansi kuli bajja kumanyango there is room for competition and participatory. Okay. Mwebale mu.
Your chairman is speaking.
Moderator, Mr. EC, the citizens of Uganda, Kabasibensi, are losing trust in elections. Even in the party where I come from, we have a group which is running away from elections. And we have a group which is saying that let's continue with elections. And that group which is running away from elections is looking for alternative means of creating a transition without what? Elections. And when we go that side, you know what it takes. It is really bad for the country. That's why the preamble of our speakers here was open that when we are in this house, let's try to think as Ugandans, not thinking as office bearers of the offices we hold. I'm perturbed by a few utterances here. I'm a veteran youth leader. I one time even happened to be a national youth delegate representing myself. Most of these special groups were created on affirmative ground. And we didn't expect these positions to remain permanent. Look at the soldiers, look at the youth, look at the women. But our women of Uganda, let be parliament, let be our local council 5, our district council, representing the interests of women. Are they representing the interests of women? 20 years down the road, are the queries of women answered? What am I saying? I'm saying, it's like a question. If people with a disability met Joa, told him their queries, how specific are you that it is only a person with a disability who can represent you? In 2016, we had 96 members of parliament who are above 65. But slots were created for the elderly to go to parliament. What do you expect? Those 96 members of parliament who are above 65 could not speak, and these 4 people could speak. We are victims of state collapse as a nation. Whereby, you know, when the center loses meaning, factionalism takes precedence. Today we are talking about person with disability. When we in 2017, even sex workers wanted an MP. Yes, they are started. Yeah? Because the center has lost meaning, so factionalism has taken precedence. That's why we even people think that maybe farmers if we get specific MPs or farmers, that's when we shall be represented.
What?
And moreover,
what is your point?
My point is, can we look at reducing parliament? Can we look at having inclusive members of parliament? Not perpetuating the other vice of state collapse. That is not until, even I've had people saying that maybe we are losing out because we don't have a minister. Victim of state collapse. You see?
So I am interested. I am interested in what you think should be done.
What should be done?
The reduction we agree, but how do we? What is your proposal?
My proposal is: can we, for these 20 years, affirmatively, people representing interest groups have graduated, and I will give you something. You'll find that even these elections have favored incumbents. New people are hard even to lead these special interest groups. Why? After being armed, they sit on others.
Okay.
I'm trying to be fair. What we are saying, can we have an inclusive parliament? Can we have an inclusive district council, whereby a representative of sub-county can represent all people? Be it persons with disability, let even a person with disability stand, aspire, or a youth aspire, aspire. Look at our youth in this country. 20 or 30 years down the road, we have had youth leaders. Our queries have been answered. Our queries have been answered.
Your point is made. Thank you very much.
Before I leave, I request that in 2017, a law was made. You said that if we want a democratic society, let political parties prosper. A law was made that for somebody to stand as an independent should have completed 1 or 2 years without participating in party activities. And when somebody mentioned that reforms are necessary, can we try to make sure that for people to stand, even a law should be, let that among the reforms we are taking in Parliament, let it be there, that for somebody to stand as an independent should have not belonged to any political party or not participated in any party activity for the last 1 or 2 years.
Uranganyira ikibazo ni kusasa ukani magamagani kutoza mu mutene myaka nsanyo kuyanga atari kandi mu myaka nsanyo yitu muno umuntu yabaga nakukire imyaka bakugambaga wino kumwe kitinisa imyaka ekitaro biro binu nyowe sima rohanga abukure kusaba kwange kwenye kaini nsaba abukuba manyire kimu twine kirwayire kambarize mu masindi tinja kuweza ahandi ekirwe kituli nakyo kandi bajanjabire kiremere kukira nicyo kigambo cyo kutamanya obutamanya kutuletera ekizibu ky'amaani nikyo okusangira omukuuma akibalize Uganda agamba abantu bagenda kukoma kyonka batamanyi kiki kibagenda kukorawo ate omuntu nosanga ebyakukora tinibyo byali supposed kukora bakinkoze kurungi omusomo guno mukutandikira obwire bukyali mukunira kimu nambali tulagira mu 2006 tujja kuba mutumanya kiki okukora kandi era kwongera kusaba muno mukumanya yo ofisi yaitu eyo obusobozi buteina busobozi bwa maani batuleka jito batungira odozi eni jetungire eni tuikirizibwe tuongere kugigazihya okunabwe tukuruga nambali tulaikira 26 atista abantu baitu bali nabo bamanyire kimu kikyo ekyokukola.
Already Morris. The first issue we go to the Electoral Commission. Our been having gaps, especially on the accreditation of observers. It's always delayed. What you find, by the time they approve, it is late. When it comes to electoral materials, they deliver late in the polling stations, as late as 11 a.m. And they expect voting to close by close of business of the day. Therefore, we request that let the application be brought at district level, since the RO or the EC will know the CSOs or the persons better. And then, voting materials should be prepared in time to avoid delays. 2, government should guarantee freedom of expression, association, and media. For instance, right now, we have the MK movement, who are having rallies in various areas. But let FDC or NUB come to an office. Disaster. So let government guarantee freedom of expression and association for all Ugandans. And also, we've seen instances where UCC interferes into media freedom and citizen freedom. We saw that during the previous elections where internet was switched off. Up now, Facebook is not in Uganda. Those using VPN, they are using it on illegal grounds. Okay. Then what we saw here in Masindi, where one lady was a victim, Radio Kitara, was also switched off. So UCC should get off elective or partisan politics. Okay. Then there should be independence of judiciary. All of us know that all cases coming from voting and so forth end up in the court of law. So they should really have that independence in handling and handle those cases.
Are you trying to say that they are not independent?
Yes. Yes.
What do you need change?
You see, they should go back to the initial stand of separation of powers. Okay. Then, lastly, what is causing a lot of mayhem and a lot of issues in elections is militarization of what? Elections. You find out, for example, don't be surprised, let me use my MD, if he's inclined and have tech machineries, don't be surprised to see him not using the military what? Elections. So let the military play their role. Because the military are, for example, the UPDF, they are meant to protect the life of Ugandans. Now, when they come into election issues, what happens? They are trying to shoot and kill. Okay. So by refraining them out of that, I think we should have a peaceful.
Thank you very much.
Interest groups kugenda nitulola obwire nebuhika okukoma osanga nti abantu kyekitoni abali supposed kukoma balikuba kyako munasobola kubawo abakulu babairo ebujja mwena banokomere bagamba yaleero akukoma
So your issue is on the register.
Niekyo sakusanga leero tulituta tubali mukugamba munajjo bennyini tulibalemu nakuolekawo kimu ba MPs baitwawo bakaikaalawo kyo kimu palamenti kamutwale eki Batesa nti amabaati gajakula gagenda Karamoja. Baita obwire obwatuukire amabaati gatukire agandi katagende Karamoja. Agandi gakakwata obukikumanyisa obulema bwatandikira aha. Gandi bagaleeta buli bulema niyo kugamba tutati kugamba nti tugonze ihanga lyatyo leka ekintu kisemerere tukikole ali kisemerere then tuhindure tugambe namunabanyama kusereka abantu kutwati kukoma mukulu wabakyala abekulembera district leka nagenda kuhanyulira itwene nkunihira issues zabalema zibahanura abantu balikwina obulema soe nti tiziba z'abantu abalina obulema bongo baitu ziba zaitu itwene kwehara kusereka abantu abo tinkulira ngu aliwo mutakusobola kusereka abanyama simuhungu mu hoteri leka naitu twetabe obukomo baita akukomo abe muntu alikwina obulema.
Thank you for this opportunity given to me. In NRM, but some people mistake me, but I don't regret that. As much as I'm there, I'm independently minded. Where something goes wrong, I have to process from within. I want to. Can you protect me from the chairman here? What am I saying? And you should come up here that NRM should be targeted in these reforms. True. Because we are the majority in the government, we are in power. And what I request my fellow NRM is to listen to the voices of the people. There is no smoke without fire. The Baganda say, because we are the ones holding power, wielding power, we have to be targeted. But let's listen to the voices of the people, especially about these reforms. Not all those coming up with the requests are ill-intentioned. They also have that patriotism to make a good Uganda. Number two, about reducing the public expenditure. By the way, Mr. Bill, most of these what have been brought, it was discussed in the country and we lost. And we are still holding the same positions. But what I can add about to reducing public expenditure, sometime in 2006, we were hurriedly convened as councils to pass the regional tire arrangement. That thing has never been operationalized. I strongly feel that if the regional tire is operationalized, most of the centralization that we are seeing would come down nearer to the people, and it would reduce on that public expenditure. Mr. Kapipi, you said that most of the leaders dance the tunes of the leaders. I tend to disagree with you. I'm not one of those. You remember during the time of referendum, I said the media cannot go on the tree and then they leave the house. Even if my vote is only one in the house, my conscience will be what? And exactly that's what I did. And I voted staying in the movement, not going partisan, when they were changing the parties. Recently, but you almost came here. The regional vice chairman of NRM, Western. They were trying to kick out my boss here. So now he started diverting from things that didn't bring him. That you NRM. Why did you donate municipality to FDC? We told him in the face that has not brought you. Joab is our son. It is serving the interest of the what? Can you stick to what brought you? We told him. He had to do what? So not everybody is dancing to the tunes of the what? Somebody raised the issue about independence. That they should not have, is it you? They should not have participated in the what? The primaries. What is bringing people to come as independents after participating in the primaries is Obushuma. I'm talking the truth. There is a lot of theft at primaries. I will give an example in UJNJ. During parliamentary, 6 villages, parishes in Kasongoi, they had to be deleted in order to favor someone to get what? A flag. And he made use that flag when an independent came. So if I participate in the primary and I hear a query, you have cheated me. Constitutionally, I'm protected to come back as a what? What is my secret? Can you give me some 2 minutes? Because you said we should compete ourselves here. As the people have what? You are aware of coming as to replace him. I don't know what you say to goodbye. But what am I promising the people of Masid? That this Masid, where it has reached, it needs somebody who is mature and patriotic. I'm not demeaning those that are there, but some of his reference have not really shown that patriotism. Number 2, somebody who is stable. We are talking about finance. Not only finance, but even financially. Okay. Because when somebody goes there, I think I'm above the level. I'm not coming out because I'm needy, but I'm being driven by service delivery.
I'm sure that you don't turn my meeting into a
No.
But at least we know you are coming.
Yes. So lastly, I'm going to see the people of Masid that I'm going to be politically balanced. Every party, I will be able to talk with them. Don't say because I'm in area, I cannot talk to Banaki because he's FDC. This country, this Masindi belongs to all of us. May God bless you.
Thank you.
Very much. What I want to put clearly, Mr. Moderator, as special interest groups, here we came on board because we were left out for many years. People had negative attitude. People have gone through series of sensitization and training in order to come out. Abantu bani bakusobola kuba balina kyebakukola negative attitude. First of all, people, personal disabilities were locked in the painting behind the whatever they have. People didn't want to look at us. If you are going, you are passing over, you are moving, people stand alongside the way. And you also feel shy. You can get to Kugam. Or travel to Israel and where is a weed, was a ma, what Karekwa Mune, ma. And they can't even have to get there. Mr. Moderator, the other time we were in
maybe somebody has died, or somebody has retired, or what, fallen out, and the post remains vacant. Baiteki omuntu alina obulema ndi muyusa ali kansala muli wa Gombora. Baija kubibuza bakatamuyone kozereki.
Bana EC, is that message clear to you? Okay.
Kakibaza nakulinya kibaza kadi good friends and everybody is aware of that. Ekita kichibaira another thing is facilitation. My colleague talked about it. Honorable Member of Parliament, tufuna facilitation yona. Abantu bamara kubakoma, then they begin to say, now we must do, what should we do? We want our transport. Facilitation eta haikuli kukoma abantu abaina obulema bambi ba MP kuli baitukunu we have nothing. Hati iwe ni ngorora ngo umuntu ayizireke, hati ataira atakanda inamoki obulema. Naye wakubaire naye okuba n'ekisa akantu kakano kakola lukaireza ibaitu koma kuhoire. I don't have many issues. Lastly, Mr. Moderator, my colleague, person from a representative of FDC, was talking about that we have growth and reduce the number of people in the council and in parliament. And he was specifically looking on the special interest groups. Mr. Moderator, the last council, we were 22, including the chairman. 22, including the chairman. But now, when you see this council now, it is 38. 38. But you can't also say that I know them as still Kiala, but we kiki kuleted the again, I calculated as though I could carnival, Nibatuam, which way, Nibatuam, which way, Kansara, Pugayo, Napuna, Pugayo, Napuga. Now, government, Yakuba, Kapongera, Muki, the Jueka Pituam, Ekakangira, by the way, I don't get up to Wama, where a consequence about MP like the Chairman is right.
So, government ifongera kuchwa.
My name is Everest Nomujuni. I've been given 5 minutes, so I'll try to go through quickly. I prepared something I need to share with us. But first, I want to emphasize what my brother presented. Most of those things you presented while I was listening, I was checking into the law, they already captured. But the biggest problem we have as a country is implementation. Because if you talk about regulation of the arms, for instance, there's a thorough law talking about how you should manage the ammunition, the arms at the polling station. Actually, it says you're not supposed to come with a gun within the distance of 1 kilometer of the polling station. But here, we end up forgetting about what the law says. I prepared something about the electoral process. That one I'm not dwelling onto it so much. The administration of elections in Uganda and the areas that we think as a commission need reform. That's where I'm going to emphasize much of the things you mentioned. I think we've talked about them. And eventually I will also clarify on a few issues that were talked about. As you all know, the commission is established under Article 60 of the Constitution, and the composition is also emphasized on that. Article 61 gives us the mandate on what we are supposed to do, and the main among them is the voter education that we are talking about. We're emphasizing that we need to do. And then it also goes ahead to say that we perform all other functions as prescribed by our honorable MPs in the Parliament. When they tell us to do ABCD, as a commission, we shall go ahead and implement as fast as possible. Then we're talking about issues of merging the elections, president or through. There's a thorough article on Article 61.2, which tells us when and where we should have, and for your emphasis, it says the Electoral Commission shall hold presidential, general parliamentary and local council elections within the first 30 days of the last 120 days before the expiry of the term of the president, parliament and local council elections as case may be. But also it goes and tells us, except when it's practical to do so, the EC shall hold general parliamentary and local council elections on the same day, except where it's practicable. So what the EC has done is combine parliament and president also. We have 48 hours. Do you think it's practicable in 48 hours to study, declare leaders from president to LC3? It's practicable. So that's why then we need an amendment. We have 48 hours to declare. So, the electoral process in Uganda currently is as follows. We begin with the designing and launching, like my brother was saying, the election period and the post. So we are already we have already done the strategic plan and the roadmap. What has not been done is launch. You know, launch requires financial, but we have it in the constraints of finances, like you know. So we have not been done the official launch of the roadmap, but we're already implementing as a commission. Then we do demarcation of electoral areas, which is important. My brother, the civil society, I call upon you. I'm here for you. The issue of accreditation that you have to go to Kampala, no, that's not what the case. I have the powers to accredit you. Just bring your documents, I will do my thorough background check and give you the letters to go and observe all the processes, right from demarcation, which is coming next year by the way, the reorganization of polling stations, the update of national voters register, the display of the national register, voters register, the nomination of candidates, the campaigns, then the polling process. If you say the polling process, that's what we all know as elections. Most of us know the polling process as the only process, so the others don't care. That's why you see you people you come to seek for accreditation for just that one process. Reason being, it has the most, actually you don't even go observe the recruitment. You only come for the polling. The polling, which by the way is not the crucial one. If there's any reason to have to take place, it happens right from demarcation. Have you heard of gerrymandering? That's when it takes place, at demarcation, at the organization. So that's why we need to pay attention to everything right from the demarcation. Then the transmission of the results, that one you already, once the tallying is done, that one is easy. Declaration, the petitions. Under petitions, that we are saying the current law says that under presidential, all petitions must be done within 15 days after declaration, which is a short period according to, and later I will show you what we have suggested. Then for parliamentary, also you have to go to court. If you have to go to court within 30 days after Gazette. So you have to wait for the Gazette and then you can go. Then, like he said, we do evaluation after that. And for person who was asking, did we do it here? Yes, it was done. It was done, maybe you were not invited, but it was done at the general level, and I believe it was either held in Hoima or somewhere. No, actually, I remember it was done here, but the combined districts, Chiandongo and Masindi, were here at, I think, I forgot the name of the hotel, but it was done, and some of you must have participated. Then we have a report, which is a public document. You can access it either online, or you can come to office, I lend you my copy and you read through on what happened. Okay. The East as an election management body also requires the following: the legal framework, which is important before we do anything, and that's why we are here. We are trying to enforce the legal framework within which we work in, the organizational structure, which includes the human resource, the strategic plan, and most importantly, the funds. Okay, the legal framework, there are so many laws, I'm not going to go through them. There are so many, I'm not going to go through them. So the organizational structure of EC, most importantly, we know the chairperson, the deputy, and the other 5 commissioners. We have the secretary, the directors, And all other people according at the region will have regional election officers. And for ease of work now, we have also brought data managers at the region, so that we don't have to go to Kampala to manage our data, but manage it at the regional level. The same applies to voter education. In order to enhance voter education, we've also brought other people at the region to reinforce that. Then we have sub-county supervisors who are temporary, and the parish supervisors who are temporary. Then during the activities, we also have ad hoc staff like update officers, polling day officials, and the like. So the new strategic plan, which runs from 2022 to 2027, is anchored on the National Development Plan 3, where EC is clustered under governance and security. And the overall the objective is to strengthen citizenship participation and engagement in the democratic process. That's why we are here. That's the reason we are here. So our planning, the strategic plan, is already emphasizing what has brought us here as civil society. The functions of EC, I've talked about them. Then we talked about the issue of funds. EC is independent, true, and self-accounting. But of course we have issues of finances. I don't want to go into details. I don't want to go into details of that. And our money comes from the consolidated fund. Now this is why I wanted to emphasize, take more time for us to share. I wanted us to understand the pathway. Yes, we are here talking about reforms, but how are we going to move to get where we're supposed to be to Parliament? Can they see the light of day? We have experience from the past 2015, I think. We had something. Did it say light of day? No. So we need to be careful so that whatever we discuss here sees the light of day. This is what we are here, why we are here. So, this is how the reforms come about. One is from the election management body, which is through legal amendments. Amendments also come from issues from implementation of the laws, the existing laws. As we implement, there are things we observe as returning officers, also as the players. So that calls for that benchmarking with other election management bodies, now the content and beyond. Then petitions that go to court, how they are resolved. They also inform the reforms. The civil society organization reports, like what you come up with after this, also inform. Amendments also come from issues arising from the National Consultative Forum for Political Parties, which I don't know if it's active. Is it active? I don't know. Then Intelligence Council, the Human Rights Commission, Parliament itself, Cabinet, and the Attorney General. The EC Legal Department compiles all reform issues, formulates proposals for amendment for electoral laws, and provides legal advice. And has already done that, by the way. We are at the level, I think, of commission, then it goes to Attorney General. The proposals are forwarded to election management for discussion. The proposals are then forwarded to the commission for refinement. The commission forwards to Attorney General, and then Parliament and Cabinet. The Attorney General instructs the first Parliamentary Council, a Refugee Department, under its chambers, formulate draft laws for proposals to be submitted and turned into bills. The bills are submitted to Parliament and line ministries. And different line ministries, we work under different ministries to come up with these proposals. For instance, EC-related reforms that affect us as the Electoral Commission. This go to our line ministry, which is Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, then local government for those that affect the local government, special interest groups, gender, and the Army, Ministry of Defense. Then there are three readings, like we know, and the President at the end of the day is the one to decide whether to, because Parliament can do its job, but will he sign it? That's another thing. As a fountain of honor, is the one to do that. So, what are the current reforms that the Electoral Commission is undergoing? One is adoption of use of technology in election management. That is informed under Registration Statutory Instrument number 2 of 2021. Here it is prescribed how to use the technology. It's unfortunate, I'm hearing that here BVK didn't work. No, where I have been in the last 2 general elections, I have not had a single failure of the BVK. And I promise, if I'm here in 2026, which I can't guarantee, we shall have them work by local group. the inclusion of Ugandans in diaspora, you know that one is informed under the court decision of Karari against the Attorney General and East in 2015. So you have heard the Commission is asking for funds to actualize that. The diaspora to participate in the coming elections. The same applies to inmates, people in prisons, also to participate. Also that was informed by the same decision of court. Then also granting special workers to participate in elections, like EC staff. We never vote. I have not voted since I joined the Electoral Commission because I don't have time. Even people we employ, some security officers, nurses, doctors who are on duty, they don't vote. So also that is informed by benchmarking with other EMBs. Outdrawing interim or midterm parliamentary and local government elections. There was a tendency before, whenever we created, we had a by-election. But now with the issues of finances, we are saying, look here, under please, the court says, let's not, that section was repealed, so we cannot, when it's created, wait for the coming general elections. When we made a representation at Parliament for every district to be cascaded to a local government council, just like Parliament, we have a district being represented on Parliament. We are saying under that the article, this Article 182 be nullified so that every sub-county or parish is represented at each level respectively. We're also proposing, other proposals we have is that we change the layout of the polling stations. The current one in some places like municipality here becomes difficult to implement because it needs big space which we don't have in some areas. So we're saying let's have a layout change. Then declaration, we are saying let's increase the amount of time that we have to declare. You have 48 hours to do declaration, but sometimes you make errors because you're rushing. You don't have time to verify some of the DRR forms that have come from the field. You don't even have time to adjudicate some of the things that you would have handled to prevent ending up in court. Then mechanism for verification of academic documents. I think we have talked about it. We said we need to strengthen that. Currently, we don't have powers to verify. Someone brings a paper in front of you, bah, and provided it's reading, it's Makerere, Chambo, go for yours is to nominate. So we are saying we need to strengthen that. Then we are saying we need to design the declaration of results forms. That form was designed many years back. Times have changed. We are saying let's design it, especially on the issues to do with male and female issues. We are CSOs. We are interested in knowing the data. Not so. How many women participate? How many youth participate? So we are saying let's redesign that. Another thing we are saying, regulations to strengthen the SOPs. Then we are saying let's raise the bar with academic qualifications of polling officials. We are having issues with filling those forms. Someone, instead of saying 180, tells you 18. So we are saying let's raise the bar from the current O level, maybe A level or university. Then we raise the bar of academic qualifications for chairpersons and councillors at local government. You have been mentioning it. Commission is also saying let's please do that. So those are some of the areas. We have raised about 7 to 8 areas. Some I couldn't put all here, but I picked a few that I thought I would share with you. Some of them are administrative, some are required the law. Now, I need to clarify these issues that we have raised. One is the electoral college's composition. At village level, all people who belong to that category register and become part of the council and vote. But going forward, like I was saying, clarifying, it's the people who have been voted that keep on going up until national level. It's only at village level where we take people who qualify within and register. Is that? I think that's clear. Quick accreditation of observers at village level. I don't know what else has been being done here. For CSOs within the district, they don't go to Kampala for accreditation. That I need to make clear. You only submit your things to the office of the returning officer, who, in consultation with the political affairs desk, accredits you. It's only national and international that end up at the commission. I think that's clear. So next time, please don't stress yourself, just bring things to me. If I'm here, by the way. Arms and ammunition, I've talked about Parliamentary Elections Act Section 42. It's very clear that you shouldn't come with a gun within 1 kilometer of the polling station. Training of BVKs, that one I can assure you the coming elections, we shall have them work. There is always phobia with this. I'll share within one second. In the last by-election in Kasese, in one of the places I was supervising, I had calls. BVK isn't working, but it was in the mountains up, and cars couldn't go there. So I said, please hold on. I walked for 1 hour and a half to the mountain, and got there and found what? They are just trying to start it. And they are saying it can't work. And those are the issues that we experience. But usually we have teams enough to move around and make sure that they work. Both education, we're intentional on that, and we shall do that. Missing administrative units, I don't know if that's it. Hoba village that I found was missing. That has been corrected and is now coded. But there also comes to what he was talking about, my colleague, and we don't participate in these things. We do usually verification of administrative units, but people don't turn up. And at the end of the day, some villages are skipped. Late delivery of materials at polling day. I don't know. I don't want to talk about this, but usually is the time the planning at district level, how you plan to deliver these things and how you prepare logistics, especially in terms of vehicles to transport. So basically, because materials come days before to the district, so the district must plan also to have this early enough, the polling station.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I request you some calls. We shall have another engagement.
Oh, I'm finishing. Finally, maybe I need to talk about, I want us to understand the roles. My role is not civic education. Mine is specifically vote education. So I cannot go to the people and start telling them about things that are for Human Rights Commission. I want to talk about election-related issues, and that's why I end. Finally, the final clarification is that facilitation for SIGs, we facilitate PWDs at the district level and national level, but not parish and sub-county. My conclusion, wide over, many MBS people have been implementing electoral reforms in a phased manner due to practical challenges encountered in wider political, economic, socio-technical, environmental, and legal external environment. Reforms are usually a result of engagements with multidisciplinary categories of stakeholders who all have varying levels of power and interest in the electoral process of the election management body. The above are arguably the reasons why some reforms see the light of day, while others will suffer setback. I thank you so much.
Hand over the floor to Maureen, who will also invite the district chairperson and the rest of the people to communicate thereafter. And I've also peacefully dismissed you, like in the court.
Okay, wow. Thank you so much, Vera, for taking us through this, moderator, and for managing time. Though we have not managed it, but at least our meeting has been fulfilled, that we have been able to look at the reforms that we are going to include in our issue paper. Just like Richard communicated that shall get leaders who will come together and we get data to support these issue papers so that it goes with some beef, some flesh to add to it. So we thank you, stakeholders. We intentionally invited you here for a purpose and we have fulfilled it. Thanks for your participation. I've not seen people moving. You know, you can have meetings and people move out. You end up being in a whole line of 10 people. But I'm really grateful that whenever we hold our engagements, we keep around. Let's clap for ourselves. I want to thank.
We are discussing what concerns us.
Yeah, I love that. We want to thank our EC, the commission, who has joined us in the district. Yeah, he has shown that he's really flexible. I thought I had invited him. I remember that, wow, I had not invited him actually. But when I gave him a call, he even managed to prepare something and presented it here. We want to thank you for that and apologies for for not inviting you. I did now. We were in Hoima. The EC also was presented well and she gave information to to the citizens, to the stakeholders, and we hope it continues like that. We need to work together, especially concerning these reforms. The information that you've given us is very key, though the time was really limited, and we hope in further engagements, we need such information. We need to know, we need to go out to the public when we are informed of what the EC is preparing, what reforms do they also want. Yeah.